Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Ben Backus.
And I'm Kevin Paulin, and welcome to the Falling Up Podcast, where we have conversations about turning obstacles into opportunities. And on today's show, we have the pleasure of being joined by Mr. Ray Boyd.
Well, I was researching for this. I was looking at all the stuff you do, and I was just exhausted. I was exhausted looking at it all. How do you find time? Where does this come from? How are you able to, I think you have like 6, 7, 8, maybe 10 different roles. Can you just kind of describe what you do and how you have the time and the energy to get it all done?
All right. I don't know where to start. I came home in November 15th of 2021. I worked in real estate at Lewis Real Estate Services in West Hartford for about 6 months with Scott Lewis under his tutelage. And after that, because of gas prices, I transferred to Yale New Haven Hospital. I was doing patient transportation there. At the same time I applied for the Yale job, I also applied for the program manager job at Yale Law School. And that took some time because Yale had to get used to, me coming home and, go through the yellow tape, whatever yellow tape that was there. And then I accepted that job. I was offered that job and I went there. And from there, also when I came home, I started my consultant services where I worked on 2 documentaries, Second Shot and All I See Is My Future, with Odyssey Impact, which is a nonprofit organization that deals with social injustices at home and abroad out of New York City. I did some great work with them. They welcomed me in as part of their team, and I love the collaborations that came from it. I'm also the co-founder of Next Level Empowerment Program, where I started a reentry program servicing men and women returning from any terms of incarceration. I have a working MOU with Manson Youth Correctional Facility where I go in there every Tuesday from 5:30 to 7 to work with the young men at Manson Youth. I also volunteer my time to go into Brooklyn Correctional Facility where I showed the documentaries that I spoke about that I worked on there. And any chance I just get to go in there, I consider Brooklyn a lost population because it's in the center of nowhere and it takes so long to get there that very few people want to go there. But most of the guys that are there at some point throughout my 30 years of incarceration, we had some sort of interaction. So I try to go out there and just be of service to them and inspire them brothers to stay doing what they're doing and so that they can make a smooth transition back into the community. I'm also working with University of New Haven and the T.R.U.E Juvenile Justice Institute with the POC, which is the Juvenile Justice and Policy Oversight Committee, where we're working with legislation to just make sure that the young folks in the community have an eye on the policies that will affect their lives in the future. Mm-hmm. And I'm also a published author of the Model Inmate, Mind Over Matter, How I Became the Model Inmate. I actually wrote 3 books, and this was the last one that I wrote, but the first one that was published. So I have 2 more that are on the shelves, and I'm also about to start working on a 3rd book called, what was the title? It's new to me, so give me a minute. The title is From Prison to Power, right? And the subtitle, it will be Defying the Odds of a Recidivist While Defining My Future. And that's that. It will capture, my 3 years. I'm approaching my 3 years on November 15th. It'll, capture, the things I did, the people that I interacted with, the things that, the focal points that you need to focus on so that you don't recidivate. You know what I'm saying? People, places, and things, if that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense.
I think everyone listening can see how what I meant by it just exhausting here and all the things you do and all the energy that goes into it. I think it's important to recognize too. These are like highly, they're just it's all giving, right? Yeah. You're constantly giving of yourself in these roles. to do that, I would imagine that the burning desire and the drive to give back came from somewhere remarkably personal, remarkably deep. And I would love to kind of hear that story of how you're able to do all that you do in this short period of time as well.
Before I jump into that question, it's another job that I forgot. I'm also employed by UConn, the Institute of Municipal and Regional Policies, working on no cash bail in the state of Connecticut. And I was just offered a new job with, I don't know if I should say this in advance, but I will. If they hire me, they hire me. I think they know my worth. The Connecticut Project, working with the Sentencing Commission. So I'll be doing some things up there with legislative and policies in their behalf as well. But this came from a place where a 17-year-old that didn't have any guidance in life, was lied to pretty much all his life. And when I say lied to, about the streets, was told that, this is the place that you can go and you can get all the riches and you can have all these luxurious things. And I think when we're introduced to that life, no one tells us that, one day you may have to protect that. And one day, you may end up spending a lifetime in prison. I spent 60% of my life in prison. So my passion comes from that because, I came up in the crack era. And in the crack era, there was only two trajectories for us in life for a black man, and it was either the penitentiary or a grave by the age of 21. So that's all I've heard, and I didn't want to die. So, I think subconsciously I chose the other path, which was to be able to put my life on the line before I allow someone to take my life. And understanding that, the wrong in it all, throughout the years of my growth and maturation while I was incarcerated, I made a conscious decision and commitment to try to be on the preventative side of the law, and not even I don't even agree with reimagining prison, because I can't begin to think about what bondage would look like for my people. So I don't want to try to fashion bondage so it looks, I don't care if you put a sofa in a cell, like it's not, a natural habitat for a person to exist in. So I wouldn't do that. And that's why I'm so passionate about the work I do. I probably sleep about 4 hours a day, but, I don't know where I get the energy from, but it's there. Some people will equate it to, a higher power or a purpose in life. I just think that it's something that's right and something that's much needed in my community.
So you're answering the need. Answering the need. It's unique. It's so much to talk about tonight. Yeah. But one of the things that just stood out to me, most people in this space usually lean more towards advocacy or more towards service. What I noticed about you is that you have a stronghold in both. Like, tell me what's that like to you to be, one moment into legislative work and then the next moment into reentry work and services?
Well, for far too long, there's been people, when you go up to the legislative office, when you look over the pews, you don't see us.
Right.
But those people are creating laws that will govern us for decades to come. They created a law where there wasn't any parole for juveniles in the state of Connecticut, which means I had to spend 30 years. And I'm not trying to take away from my crime that I committed. I'm definitely contrite from my crime. And that is also one of the contributing factors as to why I do the work that I do. I love what I do. I was able to, meet with the daughter of my victim and my situation on the 35th anniversary of the day that I took his life. She's forgiven me at my parole hearing. She continues to forgive me because not only because of the work that she sees me do, she's also taken the time to understand the time in which it happened and know that, there was some of what was taking place during that time was by design, right, for Black and brown people, and it's called mass incarceration.
Correct.
She works in the Department of Correction.
Really?
Yeah. And she actually, we have a unique way of crossing paths. The day that I was released from prison, she was working for transportation the CTU, which is Correctional Transportation Unit, and she was gassing up her vehicle as my family and I were celebrating me leaving the facility.
Wow.
And I didn't even know it was her. I had never seen her. She was 5 years old when this incident happened, and it traumatized her even more. You know, so that's why I do that work, because I'm a restorative justice practitioner as well. So I don't want to see anybody have to be victimized and continue to be victimized. So if on the preventative side, if we can do that, we don't have to worry about crime. We don't have to worry about, lives being taken. We can just focus on things. And the reason why I try to do most of all of these or some of these things is because I think it's important that we have a seat at the table when the issues are concerning us for the most part. And I also think working with individuals coming home, I want them to come home. I want them to become viable citizens. I want them to become taxpayers. I want them to have good jobs and good lives, and I want them to experience things outside of that 5-mile radius that they were trapped in for so long. And in the advocacy group, it's just that there was no one there, and there's still little, vacancies there when it comes to advocating for our youth. You know what I'm saying? It's like we're just trying to create different facilities to put them in, but we're not focused on the real issues at hand. We'll take $16 million and run a facility, for troubled youth, but we won't take $16 million and renovate one of these schools that we have in our city that say, we can welcome these youth there 24 hours a day, no matter what they're going through. We can set up hubs where we can set up spaces for kids that don't have a place to sleep, that are teenagers. You know what I'm saying? I just spoke to a mother. She said she walked out her door last night and there were 3 teenagers. Her friend's sons were sleeping on her back porch. But no one wants to sit down and listen to them. And you wonder why they steal cars, because cars have gas in them and they're warm at night.
No doubt.
When you can pull somewhere up and park and just, chill.
Yeah. 100%.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So that's why I do what I do, man. I love what I do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I wake up every morning and get to it.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, you want it. And it's beautiful to see and inspiring. Yeah.
You mentioned spending about 60% of your life incarcerated.
Yes, sir.
And it is very clear, and I think you mentioned it as you were talking about the woman that was able to forgive you, that you've made this incredible transformation, truly incredible transformation. And it sounds like that the mission is to pass that message on to others and show people that there's hope. In a system where the aim certainly isn't on actual rehabilitation, right? It isn't on making individuals better. How were you able to navigate your transformation?
So just transparency, my transformation, I write about it in my book. It wasn't when I first went into prison in the early 90s. Gangs and gang violence was at an all-time high. I was a 19-year-old going into the Connecticut Department of Correction. I had to grow up instantly overnight. It was a very predatory environment. So not saying that I was I had to become this vicious dude, but I had to become more aware and consciously aware of my surroundings and what existed in that world that I had to exist in, and for 50 years. So once 50 years became my reality, I gravitated towards gangs and gang violence. I gravitated towards, selling narcotics in the facilities, introducing narcotics into the facilities because as a means of survival. You know what I'm saying? But there was a point when I just decided that, if I'm going to make changes in my life, there's certain behaviors that I needed to rid myself of, and all I knew was to hustle. So I just switched my product. You know what I'm saying? I no longer, I said, you know what? I have friends that would or so-called friends that would send me drugs but wouldn't help me pay for a lawyer. You know what I'm saying? And that was keeping it real.
Do you think it was time that was able to disclose, show that to you?
Most definitely time, because had I gotten out, there is no light switch for a criminal way of thinking to change it. It takes time. It takes growth. It takes maturation. Like when I went to prison, I was a 7th grade dropout. I was reading on a 3rd or 4th grade level. I haven't read a book in its entirety until I went to prison. So my schools were already failing me. I don't know how I made it to the 7th grade when I got to prison, but somehow I made it there. So as I began to educate myself and taught myself how to read, taught myself how to write, law was my thing. I had to teach myself how to adjudicate law and, file civil 1983s and so on and so forth. And, some modifications I attempted and things of that nature. But the more consciously you become aware of certain things, like, especially with education, I just became fascinated with education. I became fascinated with reading, reading certain books. In the beginning, it was more so, urban fiction and hood novels. But, I challenged myself to move outside of that realm. And I also challenged myself to speak different, even amongst my peers. I knew that there were certain things and it's not that I'm selling out, but I knew that I would have to introduce myself into spaces where that vernacular wasn't wanted or wasn't needed or accepted. And the only way for me to get there, was to work hard on myself. And that's why I did it.
So you almost saw the bigger picture, and you're like, I want to work towards this.
Yeah.
And then
I
slowly
wanted to be a better version of myself coming out than when I went in. I had, I came from a social economically strapped situation. I'm one of 9 children that my mother bore. We never had everything. So it wasn't like, while I was in prison, I had everything that I needed, but I knew that what little I was getting from the outside, the support that I was getting from family, friends, and loved ones, like, I had to ask myself seriously, like, what return am I giving them on their investment in me? They stood by me for 30 years. Like, what type of person? Like, do I just want to go out there and say, okay, I know how to sell crack. I know how to sell weed. I know how to sell dope. Just let me get it all, and, I'm out for 90 days and I'm locked back up because the terrain has changed. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going home thinking that this is what I know to do, and now my family's disappointed in me and like, we just did 30 years for you to go back to jail?
Right.
I didn't want that. So I said, what can I do to better my situation, to give me more opportunities at life, to flourish in life? And it was all through education. I can't equate it to no outside force other than education. It was in the book. I opened the book, and as it's sad as it say, as the saying goes, you want to hide something from a black man? Put it in the book. Mm. I opened those books. And I read those books, and I read a book by Tony Martin very early on during my career in prison. And in the book, Tony Martin said, Marcus Garvey said, you read one book a week. In 52 weeks, in 1 year's time, you read 52 books. In 5 years' time, you read 260 books as opposed to the person who hasn't read one in that time. I've watched my surroundings. I've seen who reads. I've seen who doesn't read. I've seen who doesn't have an interest in reading. I saw that, when you walk down that big hallway in the penitentiary, you have guys that are all going to the right to go to the gym, and very few guys are going to the left to go to the library. Mm-hmm. And that's all by design. A lot of these men that find themselves in prison are functionally illiterate, like myself going into prison, and they don't want to be vulnerable. They don't want to tell anybody that they can't read. They don't want to tell anybody that they can't write. So they're not looking for education. They're looking for something to pass their time, and it's namely basketball. It's mainly chess. It's mainly checkers. It's mainly football game, poker, on the weekends, basketball games, and they become so engulfed with stats that ESPN's not hiring you for that.
The great distractions.
You know what I'm saying? And now the new pacifier for them are tablets, because all it is moved. They gave you free phone calls, but I guarantee you, if you juxtapose the cost of what individuals are paying for those 6 phone calls they were burning each day versus what they're paying for the movies and the music that they're buying, and they're squandering money, and we're all squandering money, and we come from places where we ain't had no money.
Right.
So where you're getting from, you're taking advantage of people and their hard-earned time and their hard-earned money so that you can watch a PG movie that you're only going to get for 3 days, and you're not going to like it because it's PG and you're grown, and it's only but so many laughs you can get out of it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
But you want to be the guy that says, "Yo, I rented 5 movies," or I just every new album that comes out, you want to purchase it.
Right.
Just to say you got the new Mazda, you got the new Mo 3, or you got the new Dave East, and whatever it comes out, and then it's like everybody's trying to one up each other and not really focusing on what's taking place before you.
What do you say to that person that comes into the program? Rather, what do you say to that person that just came home but still shows those signs of distraction? Deep down, they want it, but they're still distracted.
I used to tell one of my little mentees when I was in there, right, and I just went to a sentence modification hearing for him, and I was so happy when one of the mentors came and testified from the facility on his behalf. I told him before I went in his cell, and he had all of these little packages of CDs. And if anybody tell you in prison, you come to my cell, all you see is books. That's it. And I told him, I said, yo, if you have more CDs than you have books, your priorities are out of whack. Because you can't do nothing with these CDs. Soon as you're not hearing the music no more, you're looking to sell them to somebody, get rid of them. You do 4 for 1.
Right.
Here go 4 CDs. Just order me the new, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But when brothers come out, man, I'm not looking for a friend. So I'm real with them. I'm real blunt with them. I'm not gonna waste your time, and I don't want you wasting my time. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm of service to people, and not just one person. You know what I'm saying? So like, yo, we're all grown men. Get your shit together. You know what I'm saying? I'm here to help you, but you gotta want it more than I want it.
100%.
And if you don't want, like right now, I got brothers that are calling me and like, yo, I need help with a job. And the mother's calling me and saying, can you help my son with a job? And I'm like, yeah, well, what do your son like to do? I don't want to get your son a job at the hospital and he don't want to push no patients. So I get him the job at the hospital, in 3 months he leaves.
Right.
Or he collects enough checks to where he thinks he can get a couple 8 balls and go back to the block. And he's situated. And we see that play out when brothers get out that aren't done with that life. They get a job because they're told to get a job by parole or probation. And as soon as they're off, they digress.
Right.
But they end up back in prison.
You think that's because the lack of interest into that position?
It's not necessarily lack of interest in that position. It's that it's easy to be led in the wrong direction, hard to be led in the right.
That's true.
The wrong direction. We all know the wrong direction.
Yeah.
You live the wrong direction. I live the wrong direction.
Yeah.
If we wanted to go that direction, right, we can go there and probably make fast money, right? But will you enjoy it? Like I've been more places in the last 2 years and 10 months than I've been in my entire life.
Yeah. So what? I have the same experience, right? Since coming home, life has been great. You know what I'm saying? Living this straight and narrow square life, doing absolutely nothing.
But it's beautiful because, look, you would have never known him.
Correct.
If you were still in that life. Mm-hmm. So this life, the right way of life, it allows you to meet people. It allows you to broaden your horizon. Mm-hmm. It allows you to, it'll take you places that you've never even thought that you would go.
Exactly.
I'll also push back that it's not a square life.
It's not.
I mean, if you look at the shit you do, like, how is that, like, by definition, not square?
But it's not. It's,
right? I get what I
get what you're saying.
And
but the culture says that, if you're doing something legitimately incorrect, you're a square, right?
That's it.
But for me, when we look at the word square, what are we actually looking at? A square is a rule of measure, right? So a lot of times the squares are the ones that are balanced in life.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? They're leveled out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They straight.
Yeah.
We the ones that,
right.
ain't got our shit together.
Like a trapezoid,
yeah, man. And it's like, yo, what are you doing? You know
I think
what I'm saying?
so much is just that you don't know what you don't know, right? And if you don't have another reference point, all you know is what your life experience has been, and that's that, right? And again, I look back at times in my life where it's just like all life was like just be as fast as possible. One thing to the next, instant gratification, instant gratification, instant gratification. And there's times where that's super fun and it feels super good and it's super rewarding. But then when whatever it is that you're using runs out, it's absolutely miserable and it's not sustainable, right? Then being able to find some level of purpose, which I guess going back to the square thing where you're able to say, hey, this is the vision. This is that thing that is greater than me that I want to chase and I want to get after. The fulfillment in there becomes something that you can never get through anything that you're trying to chase. And I think that's the you don't know what you don't know until you realize what, like, hey, what does it mean to be fulfilled in doing things that actually satisfy the soul and allow you to exceed your comfort zone and build new skills and fail and then overcome.
So the saddest part about that is you don't understand that until you're put away. You have, how the scripture says, and I'm a spiritual person. I'm not a religious person. So I've read the text of all of them and I've applied what I feel as though is beneficial to my life. And that's how I live my life. But the scripture also says, the scripture says, yo, be still.
That's right.
Right? And a lot of times we're so moving in our minds that we don't take the time to just be still.
Yeah, and it's so funny that it's not fun. The scripture says that, but that's also the neuroscience behind it, right? Is like our dopamine, which is the feel good drug. It's the seek, want. What goes up must come down. So if you're going on a long high, the brain has to come back to that equilibrium. So there's going to be a low, and if you can't ride that low out and you keep trying to go up, you're never going to balance out, and eventually it comes and crash and burns. And the way to reset is to be still.
You take a kid like myself. I started hustling when I was 12 or 13. And that was because I'm one of 9 children, right? I thought that what my mom was giving me and my father was giving me wasn't enough. You know what I'm saying? I wanted that extra shell to Adidas. Yeah. When school time came, I needed, a couple more pair of pants. I wanted my swag to look right. Mm-hmm. And that's why I got into the streets. But once I got into it, it wasn't no longer about just having that. Now it's like, okay, I can go to school with a couple $100, $1,000, $1,500. I don't got to get the white milk in lunch no more. I can buy the chocolate milk, the fruit roll-ups, and the cookies. I eat that Ilio's pizza. So, and then it's like, I can also get that for my friends as well. That's in school. So now I'm introducing some of my friends to the game. And that's how we have our neighborhoods and our cliques. And it's like, yo, come on here, bro. We can do this. And your situation ain't no different from mine. You live right up the street. 2 houses down in the same project. Your mom came over my mom's house and got some sugar too.
Right.
So we both ain't got no sugar at the end of the week. I'm 1 to 9, right? There's certain days I looked in the refrigerator, wasn't nothing there but Arm & Hammer baking soda box, keeping the air circulating that was fresh. Mm-hmm. Because we ate the sandwich meat. You know what I'm saying? We ate all the cold cuts, and it's dinner there, but the amenities that you want, from a normal home, the stuff that we enjoy now, just being able, because we work hard, and we may buy some turkey and some ham and cheese, or if you eat ham, I don't eat ham, but you make a nice sandwich, and you know what I'm saying? You sit down and you watch, and you're like, wow, man, this is the life. You know what I'm saying? Kev, you came out of the house, bro. Yeah. You see, I love my house. It's my sanctuary. It's where I seek my solitude. I work in my home office. I took my sunroom, converted it into a home office, and I'm there. I look out the window. I see chipmunks. I see, squirrels. I open the window. I hear the birds, and I hear the birds go crazy when the hawks fly over the house. So it's like those little things that you took for granted. I mean, I used to hear gunshots and not run.
Right.
Now it's like everything dark in the backyard. I hear a little creak, and it's like, who in my backyard?
Whole chipmunk.
Yeah, a little cat or something walking through the backyard. But it's like, and that's when, like, that whole shift of the culture. You know what I'm saying? You no longer live in that culture, and you get life is so much beautiful on this side. I wouldn't change it for nothing.
Yeah.
And then you meet the same people doing the same work all over the country when you go into these conferences, and it's like it's reaffirming that, you know, you think you're alone, but you're not alone. You know, you have people that want to support you and love what you're doing. Like, people hear my story and they love it, but I'm like, it ain't about me. It's not about me, and I try to stay humble. I really don't like the limelight, but I know that running these organizations and working for these organizations, I have to tell my story to be able to help people.
Absolutely. Yeah, if you don't, you're being selfish.
Yeah.
That's the truth right there. Yeah, no, because it's all about, and again, like, I can look back and say what saved my life was people telling me their story. That's what saved my life, because I was like, wow, I can relate to everything that you're saying, and I like you. I kind of want what you have. Show me the way. Yeah. But the amount of times that people told me I had to change, and all I could be like was like, yeah, I don't. What are you talking about? Why would I do that when I can go do this? This is way more fun. Yeah. And it took people telling their story. So no, I think it's and in the same breath, to be able to stay humble in the fact that you don't like the limelight, I think that is such a cheat code for you, because it can be so easy to be consumed by, well, look at me now, right? And then all of a sudden, what happens? Now the message becomes inorganic, and it's not going to be heard. It's not going to go the same way. Oh, I've made it. I don't need to do I can do 3 of my jobs. I don't need to do all 18 of them, right? I could sleep 6 hours.
You know what? I got into Yale, and I'm straight.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I'm going to take care of my wife,
but that's it.
My son and my daughter, and it's like I'm living in this bubble. But I knew that it's deeper than me. You know what I'm saying? And I knew that, I hate to say it, that there's a lot of services out there that are not doing the work.
Right.
And the work needs to get done. And I know the individual. I grew up in prison. Everybody, I left my family there. So it's upon me to do the best that I can do to make sure that those guys have the same opportunity that I had coming home.
Speaking of coming home, after spending so much time incarcerated, what was that transition home like?
Well, at first it was different. I came home to my wife, I'm sharing space with a male for 30 years. It's different. It's very challenging. There's ups and downs. You get OCD pretty much when you're in a cell.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like every little thing can actually bother you that you shouldn't let bother you. And I think that comes with the traumas of being incarcerated. So you have to relearn certain things. You have to relearn relationships. You have to relearn. I had to relearn my approach with my wife because, in prison, it wasn't a place where you can play and laugh and joke. So you checked a lot at the door. So those are things that can become triggers in the instance of, someone saying something. And it's like, and my wife was like, why are you so harsh? Like, what? They didn't mean it like that. And it's like, I'm still learning that part. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And then going to get flowers. I didn't have to buy any flowers for my dates while I was in prison. Right. I was in prison.
Yeah, right.
So now it's like you learn to appreciate that. Like, seeing the smile on your wife's face when you come home with just flowers. And it ain't no occasion. It's just something, babe, this going on the kitchen table for us. You know what I'm saying? So when we have dinner tonight, we can smell the roses as well. Mm. Mm-hmm. So that's where like I get my joy from. Having somebody drop by the house and it's like, okay, bro, let's have a drink. Let's watch some videos, the game, the fight, your foot was messed up. You didn't get to see the basement.
Yeah.
But, my basement is finished. Nice 86-inch in the basement and, surround sound. So it's like, fellas want to watch the fight. Let's watch the fight. Yeah. We don't do it old school. Order some pizzas, have some beers, watch the fight. Everybody goes home, drive safe. We don't overindulge and nothing like that. But you can still, even after prison, like some people think that you have to come home from prison and live this square life. Right. You can still enjoy life.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you condition yourself and discipline yourself enough in there. Like, of course, you're not supposed to drink in there, but you're an adult. You can drink. Now, if drinking was a problem for you, I wouldn't want you to drink. You know, I would want you to live in your sobriety. But if you never saw drinking, it's okay to go to T.R.U.E and have a shot after work. Why not?
Right.
And then go home and have dinner with the wife and kid and sit on the couch and watch a movie and get up tomorrow and do it all over again. You know, unfortunately, me and my wife, we work together. We're both co-founders. So it's like, babe, did you see that email? Yep. And we're tossing back and forth. And it's like, okay, I'll send this email. You address that one. And, you know, we're trying to make it work. And also, with trying to make it work, we have to find balance.
Right.
From our professional lives and our romantic lives. You know, we're a husband and wife, but we're also business partners.
Let's talk about that, because all of us, married man, engaged. What does that look like? Because that's something. Shout out to Jalila, but that's something that me and my fiance talking about is like bringing our services together. How can we complement? Like we started getting in the stages, but we met. We were separate entities. So for myself, what advice would you give someone like me that is stepping into that new world of working directly with your partner?
I posted it the other day on my Instagram.
Oh, you did?
And it was a quote. It said, I seen a quote. The brother said, "Don't get a passenger, get a co-pilot." So that if something goes wrong, he was explaining that if something goes wrong with him, his wife is able to land the plan. She's able to handle business. She knows the business. My wife knows everything about what we do. We're transparent with one another. And I think that works. You know, I can call my wife right now and say, screenshot how much money you have in your savings and your checking. And it's like, I don't get a why. Because what's mine is yours.
That's right.
I think that
You know what I'm saying?
I think that advice of you need a co-pilot, not a passenger, is vital whether you have a working relationship with your significant other or not, right? And I know that
most definitely.
I almost burned my relationship to the ground many times because I tended to be the pilot and not recognize that I need to be a co-pilot, right? And then I'm the type of guy that's like, oh, I want to do this. Oh, we're doing it. And it's not like, oh, would you like to do this or what would you like to do? It's, hey, I feel like, and it is so important. And I love the analogy too. Like, hey, when things start to take a nosedive, which happens in life and in every single relationship, whether working or not, to have someone else be able to hold you down is so important. And if you don't communicate those roles, I know for me that was really, really challenging. So I really love that analogy.
And my wife, she's a wonderful person. She's been like, she's taking so much in her world to even deal with me, because there's these backlashes of giving her background in her career prior to me coming home. Right. It's like, why are you even dealing with this dude? He went to jail when he was 19. He came home, and it's this preconceived notions that, if he went to prison, he ain't got no education. What is he coming home to do? Why are you even bothering him? You're college educated. You have a master's degree. You're licensed MOSW. You've been an older woman for 20 years, and you've been working with the Democratic Party for 25 years, and you ran successful campaigns. Like, what can he come home to offer you? But now I'm pretty sure they won't say it to my face, but I'm pretty sure they're saying it now, and it's like, damn.
Well, I mean, if you have
offers a lot,
but also
I need a dude from jail.
if you have a conversation with you for 5 minutes, you realize how you are more educated than 90% of the population, if not more, right? Yeah, so
definitely,
it's the funny thing of preconceived notions. They get everyone in trouble.
Well, that's the thing. You just assume, and you think you know what someone looks like or what someone goes through in there, and you have no idea. You know what I'm saying?
It's also those, like, the people that by definition fuck up in life are the most interesting, amazing, because if your pain is this high, right? Like or if your pain is only this high, whatever it is, the joy, the excitement can only be that high. But if your pain is way down here, the ceiling is so much higher too. Yeah. Like, those life experiences are it's what makes life special. right? It's what makes everyone who they, I don't know. It's what innovates. It's what changes the world. It's what does everything. So, yeah, I love people. I love people.
So what, speaking of loving people, what is the goal for, I don't even want to say next level. Let's say you. What is the goal for you doing this work with because clearly your love for the people is evident through everything you do.
Yeah.
So with the work, what is the big goal?
My goal is to, for next level, to become a national model. I think even when I said that I wanted to launch Next Level here in New Haven, I said that, I looked at what all these different cities were doing. Right? We have one correctional facility. Mm-hmm. We have one board of pardons and parole. Why don't we have one reentry? Mm. We have Bridgeport doing their thing, Hartford doing their thing, New Haven doing their thing, Waterbury doing their thing, and they're all missing the mark. Because I sat in prison and I watched those doors reopen and I watched the brothers come back in. So I said, I think that the people closest to the problem, one's closest to the solution. Let me get some brothers that are system impacted and sisters that are system impacted, get them to the table and see how we can best serve ourselves and us, you know what I'm saying, coming home. And so with that, I've met brothers from New Jersey. I've met people in North Carolina. I've met people, and it's about building relationships, like I said, Louisiana, California, and they're like, I like what you're doing. I want to do that out there. So I'm looking to next quarter or sometime next year start branching out nationally. I would love to see Next Level become a national organization, just like Just Leadership USA, just like NAACP, and but just dealing with formerly incarcerated. And my idea is to see us service us. You know what I'm saying? So we don't have to go outside of who we are looking for services from other people.
Right.
We got us.
Right.
Type of mentality. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And we're going to hold you accountable. And I think that's why when you see so many brothers coming back into the city of New Haven, we're all linked.
Yeah. And
we're all like, if we see something, I don't care if it's a brother says something crazy on Facebook. Yo, what's wrong with you, bro? You good?
Yeah. Yeah. Facts.
You got to move away from that.
Yeah.
And we're not afraid to check each other.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? We don't got to do it in public. I get calls when brothers say, yo, what you doing? All right, I got you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You stood on that corner too long talking to them dudes. All right, I got you. It's in my old neighborhood, but also I was getting my car done. Well, you should have dropped your car off and then came back and got it. But it's that if I can't be real with you,
what's the point?
What's the point?
Right.
And I tell my brother, yo, if you see something wrong with me, let me know.
What's we used to call a recovery house? Pull me up.
Yeah.
Give me a pull up. Yeah, pull me up.
Pull me up. I'm going to accept it.
Yeah.
The truth only hurt the guilty, but I might be hurt a little bit. But at the end of the day, I know you value our relationship enough to say, yo, man, cut your shit.
Right.
At least give me a chance. I guess that's what I would look at. Like, tell me what I need to know. I might not hear it first time in the moment, but you planted the seed.
That's right.
You gave me a chance. And vice versa. And I think it's meaningful.
Yeah, planting that seed is everything because so many seeds I got planted that grew. Especially looking back on my father, me and my father relationship has been rocky for at the least. But there's a lot of things that he told me, especially when I was younger. Especially, it's crazy because my father never been arrested, never got in no trouble, never. Just came from Haiti and just working. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And but one of the things he would always tell me is like, don't gamble, don't gamble, don't gamble. Like that was his thing. And he always said gambling bring you problem. And I ain't really understand that. I heard him, but I ain't understand that's how I went to prison. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And you already
you already know.
You already know.
Old heads that and it's crazy because you always got that one old head, whether they're from your community or he knows you or he knows somebody in your family. Mm-hmm. And they'll come to you and be like, look, don't fuck around with them boys. Mm-hmm. Don't gamble. Mm-hmm. Don't lend nobody money. Don't take nothing from nobody. And if you follow those
smooth
route, you'll be good.
Yeah. 100%.
And I'm also like, and a person, I always live by this. A person can only go where they're invited. If someone plays with you and you don't play, you cut it off right there at the door. If you continue to play, then you'll become a plaything. You know what I'm saying? Then you'll get mad when that person doesn't know how to stop.
Right.
And then that becomes an altercation. But if it's like, bro, I don't play. No, we're not going to do that. And it's a respect level as well. If that person respects you, okay, you're someone I can't play with.
Mm-hmm.
Person only goes where they're invited. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's real.
That is. I like that.
Like if I didn't know you, if I didn't invite you into my world and vice versa, you invite me into, we wouldn't be here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It would just be like, yo, that's the guy from Winning Ways, and that's the guy from Next Level, and we'd just be coming to these spaces and seeing each other and being familiar like that. But it's like, yo, bro, how you doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and you've introduced me to some great brothers from, you know, other cities, and it's like I got a call from one of them brothers one day. It's like, yo, what's up? I got this young dude that, you know, I want you to talk to. And it's like, okay. Because it came through him. And I value my relationship with him, and I see the work that he's doing, and I value the work that he's doing in the community and how he's giving back. So why wouldn't I be on board for that? You know, if I was in the other world and someone seen a play and they came to me and was like, yo, I got a play, and I value that, I'll jump on board with it. For the wrong things,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Why not do it for the right things?
No doubt. No doubt.
Definitely.
No doubt.
And you do it for the right things for the right reasons. It's not it doesn't have to be monetized every time you do it.
Well, that's where the fulfillment comes in.
You know?
Right.
That's the intrinsic value right there. Like, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to do everything like I do Project Fed Up, because I love going in there and talking to the kids in the elementary schools. I do Project Safe Neighborhood because I want to make my neighborhood a safer person. So if I could tell somebody that I just spent 30 years in prison and it'll change their trajectory in their life and some of the things they're doing because they see me, and it took me 30 years to come home to get a job at Yale when I lived up the street from Yale all my life.
Right.
I wish I could bottle that feeling up and give that to people, because I think that is the and this is a crazy word to use, but I think that's the cure for so much different types of illness, is being able to, again, find something that is greater than yourself and attack it with everything you have. You know, you saying that, I remember when I broke my back, things went downhill even faster. And then I started public speaking, and I was full of shit when I was public speaking, because I was saying some crazy stuff and I was still not living the best life. But for the first time, I felt like I had a purpose, and I kept chasing that. And before I know it, my actions started to lead with what I was saying. And then just it's scaling out, even like after it took like maybe 5 years to get our first grant. 4 years to get our first grant. And I just remember like crying like a baby on that call, and just being like, wow, like this work that we did, these going to all these meetings and all of these things, like finally turned into something tangible. Like, this is beautiful. And all the other steps along the way of like, you work really hard, you get knocked down 500 times, but then you get up and you do it. It's like, how can you and the only way to get that feeling is to actually do that thing, you know? And I wish you could bottle that feeling up and just give it to the person that was suffering, because it's just, that is it. It's like, believe in yourself and chase something that's greater and hard to do.
Yeah. And a lot of people, speaking of grants, like I don't know if you remember, we were at City Hall.
Yeah. Oh, I remember you guys. I was going to say that.
About that.
We went, and I was like, yo, Next Level. They came in with like 30 people, and it was powerful.
I think I met y'all right after that.
So
we had
powerful.
to show up because like we're grassroots. We're the new organization on the block. Yeah. And I hate to say it, a lot of that came out of the fact that I was dissatisfied with some of the organizations in the city that had already looked over me. Mm-hmm. You know, I sat with some of these guys, and I've had interviews with people. It's like, oh, we know who we want already, and it's you. And then I never get a call back. And through that dissatisfaction, you know, I was telling my wife, like, you know, what can I do? She was like, what do you want to do? I said, well, I'm going to start my own program.
Oh.
And she said, what would you call it? I said, Next Level Empowerment.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And yeah, they know who they are.
Yeah, of course.
They know who they are.
Of course.
People went to them, was like, yo, what made you not IRA boy. And when I sat in, I was like, yo, like, what is your mission? What is your goal? I was ready to give my all to their program. Mm-hmm. And then, like I said, I don't know if it's a higher power or anything, but it wasn't the season for that.
Right, that's right. That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I think being responsible for my genius, I hold the ball in my own court, in my own hands, as they say. You
definitely worked out the right way.
And it's working out. And like I said, I was able to bring some solid dudes and women. And, you know, I have a beautiful board that works with me. You know what I'm saying? And we're just all about doing the work. So it's not about the money, because we're not receiving big money.
Right.
You know, I think about maybe a third of my check probably going to next level.
Yeah.
You know, we have to keep it afloat.
Right.
You know, you get a grant, you get the grant the year after you you know what I'm saying? It's gone.
It's crazy. It's so crazy.
It's gone when you get it.
9 months later.
Manson Youth Institute, I'm going in there. DOC's not paying me. No state agency is paying me. I'm volunteering. You know why? Because there wasn't nobody there for me when I was that age.
Yeah.
I get on the highway. I get on the back road, roll the window down, put some jazz on, some Boney James, and I was like, you know, this is where I go, and I'm hoping that I could just change one of those young brothers' life, because they have no idea where they're headed.
Right. And again, going back to dropping that seed, like, it's got to grow eventually.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm still kind of stuck on the creation next level. In my mind, it was like you thought of it in prison. You was gonna come home and
So the idea of nonprofits was there in prison. I didn't have a title for it. I didn't have a name for it. But I also thought that, you know, the work that was being done in the city, I could contribute to the work that was already being done. And I thought that, you know, me starting these groups or co-founding these programs in the penitentiary would be a testament to what my worth would be outside.
Of course, it should be.
You know, people were coming in, and you know that, and they were coming in large numbers. We had people coming in every Friday to meet with us from all over the state, and a lot of this was some of the organizations that I was being looked over. So you know, I just did my own thing, man, and I feel good being my own boss at the end of the day as well, too.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And we're not a multi-million-dollar organization, but at the same time, I answer to me. And like I said, I'm still humble answering to me, because I still got to do the work. I'm telling, as the boss, I'm telling myself, you got to go to work.
No doubt.
What are you doing? You got to go to work.
She was more work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
The funniest, my whole adult life, all I wanted was, I want to have my own practice. I want to make my own hours. I want to do this. And then finally it happens, and I just soon realized, now I literally can't make my own hours, because I have to be in this office 6 days a week, and I'm booked up, because now there's people who expect me to be here. And it was just this very funny moment of realizing, oh yeah, it's like, you can never have your cake and eat it too. You know, it's either... Yeah, it goes back to having a greater purpose, having something, a reason to show up.
Yeah.
Well, when I first went on this journey of winning ways, there was a gentleman that told me, you know, because I'll say the same thing, like, I can't wait to winning ways is at a point where I don't got to go work at Columbus House, and I got to work at Liberty and work all these goddamn jobs. And the person said, yeah, when the business is dictating your schedule, that's when you know you made it. And I'm like, and I just, you know, just went over my head. I'm like, all right, it dictates my, man, listen, like, I got to work around Winning Ways. Winning Ways will work around me as the boss. You know what I'm saying? So it's
like, a lot of people think I sit home and I do nothing until I show them, like, I'll literally be like, FaceTime me right quick. And I show you my Outlook calendar, and he's like, oh, okay. It's all blue. Like the whole month. You know what I'm saying? It's all blue. It's like, and it's out. I love to work so much that I work on the weekends. Yeah. I don't have a problem with working on the weekends.
Yeah.
You know, I tell my wife, like, Sunday I'm not doing nothing. But when I say I'm not doing nothing, that means I'm not going out the house. But I may work from 9 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock at night to make sure that my workload throughout the week is, you know, suffice and not too strenuous for me. So if my wife does want to go out to dinner, I can say, okay, babe, let's go out to dinner. You know, let's go to Dairy Queen. Let's go get some ice cream. You know, let's go to Jersey. You know, you want dinner down there, wherever she wants it, I'm gonna take her. You know what I'm saying? But and she always has this thing like that. You owe me $500,000 already for the work that I've been doing.
Oh, you got to pay that off.
I pay it off somehow. You know what I'm saying? Increments. You know,
Right.
But
Payment plan.
yeah, like and it's like people don't see the work behind it.
Yeah.
They just see next level and think, oh damn, where they come from? Like they're doing a lot. But right now it's like 2 people single-handedly doing what, you know, next level needs to get done. And that's me and my wife and my volunteers. Like we were able to get a contract with University of New Haven and T.R.U.E. Juvenile Justice. So now we're able to, you know, pay our youth coordinator to come out and do some things. Nice. So we, you know, slowly but surely we'll be incorporating things. We I don't think I told you when you was at the house, but I was at a Vera Institute gala this year.
Okay. Yeah.
And they split half of the donations with me, the Institute, and then I was on a panel with Troy Vincent from the NFL, and the NFL is now giving us a donation towards, you know, making it happen.
Well, you told me about that. Yeah.
Yesterday, we just bought a van for the house, you know what I'm saying? And now, you know, the city is generous enough to help us fix the house up. So we're going to fix the house up. We got a van for the house. The NFL is giving us money to furnish the house completely. Wow. So, you know, we're making things happen, man. Wow. And through that notoriety, like other people will say, yo, I like what you're doing, man. How can I help? Like, I went and spoke with Vera for what I was doing here, and through that, I met Troy Vincent. Troy Vincent was like, you know, I know what Vera's doing for you, but how can I help you? And I was like, man, I'm being honest with you. I don't know how we're going to furnish this house. And he was like, hit me up, I got you. This is what we have these organizations for within the NFL, to help brothers that doing stuff like you in the community, to help you make it through. Wow. And there's no doubt in my mind that, you know, with that one shot, that I could show them that I'm actually doing something with the money. I can come back.
Yeah, right.
I can come back.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, you're doing the work.
Yeah.
Doing the work.
And momentum's real.
Yeah.
You know, when people see what works, they want to be a part of it. And I think that I also think that you have you and yourself an incredibly credible messenger at the head of the ship.
Yeah.
And people hear you and are attracted to you and like you because of you. And it's really powerful. And how, speaking of helping, how can people find you guys? How can people support, donate, whatever, volunteer? How can people?
You can just go right to our website. It's nextlevelemp.org. Nextlevelemp.org. There's a donation button up there. There's also, you can leave us a note and follow us, and you can leave your email for any events that we may be having. We'll send out an e-blast so everyone will be in tune with what's going on with Next Level. I am in the developmental stages of being able to put out merch, Next Level merch and stuff like that. So everything is associated with our website. You just log on to our website and you can see the work that we're doing, and you can support us, man. You know, the money is going back into the community. The merch sales will go back into the community to help men and women transitioning back into the city of New Haven and ultimately the state of Connecticut.
Well, thank you for the work you do. Thank you for taking time on a Thursday night to come and kick it with us for a little bit. It's powerful. And I hope that people hear this and, you know, they get the itch to help, because it's all about paying it forward. And I think you're a true living testament to that. So thank you so much for being part of it.